So today, we are going to talk about 5 budget smart devices for your home automation journey. Steady ka lang dyan kung gusto mong matutunan lahat ng tips na dito. So if you're not familiar with smart home devices, don't feel bad. Recently lang sila naging kilala sa market natin. Actually, it started in 2010, pero at the time, it wasn't really known because only a few people could afford them because it was still expensive. But today, because of platforms like Smartlife, If This Then That, and your smart home assistants, everybody and anybody can get them at an affordable price. So today, we're gonna talk about 5 smart home devices, and obviously, dapat budget options kasi dapat pasok sa Pinoy budget. I am also going to show you how I use these devices on a daily basis, how I integrate them in my home automation setup, and how it improves my day-to-day life. So as always, I'm going to leave links to timestamps in the description, so if you're interested in a specific section, you can jump right through that section. Alright, let's get on it. So this is the Lasco Smart Bulb. This is actually one of the cheapest smart home devices out there. I really like the simplicity and it has a lot of compatibility when it comes to applications and assistants. This is one of the most useful ones because you can basically turn any devices in your home into a smart device. I've used this before to automate my electric fan, automate my diffusers, and maybe even some lights. It has a lot of uses for its price, and you can actually even use it as a trigger for your other smart devices. Okay, so now we have the PIR sensor, person in room sensor. For the price of 500 pesos and the use, I can't really complain, right? While it doesn't have a lot of compatibility when it comes to application and assistance, it's okay for me because I only use it to trigger some lights and maybe even a siren if I get one in the future. For now and for my use case, it definitely does the job. So in the box, you have the instructions, a double-sided tape. This, however, does not include the batteries, so you have to get those. For this one, it's 3 AAA batteries, and in my testing, it normally lasts at least a month, so that's really good battery life for me. You can actually stick this in the wall if you choose to. In my use case, I definitely do that. I stick it somewhere low so that when somebody passes by, if I want it to trigger the lights, it does that. This one also has an option to trigger every 2 minutes or 4 minutes. In my case, I use 4 minutes to save on battery. But if you want to put it in a place where there's a lot of movement, I would suggest you put it in 2 minutes. Just be cautious that the battery life won't last that long. Overall, I can't really complain because at the price point of 500 pesos, it's a good enough build quality. It's small enough that you can put it in any place that you want it to trigger, and I'm really happy with it. Okay, so now we have the contact sensor. This one again is below 500 pesos. In comparison to the person in room sensor, this has a lot of compatibility, which I like. In the box, it comes with batteries, which is nice, as well as ways that you can attach it to a wall. It has screws, and it also has a double-sided tape. You would normally use it in places where you'd open and close a door or a window. In my use case, I have one in my window and I also have one in my door. You can also use this for cabinets, and again, it depends on what use you will do with it. My use case, most of the time, I use it to trigger lights on and off, and in some cases, I even use it to trigger an alarm. When I say alarm, it's a custom alarm that I actually did. When somebody opens the door, it triggers a light scene that turns red and then white, and then if I have a siren, that'll also trigger that. Overall, for the price, I'm really happy with this one. Nothing really fancy, it does the job, and that's all I really need. So now we have the smart switch. This was the first one that I actually bought. I bought this, I think, last year. It costs around 1,200 pesos. In terms of applications, this works with Broadlink. I have a Broadlink RM4. Maybe I'll talk about it in a different video, but in terms of integration with my smart home, it does a good job since it works with most of the smart applications and assistants. It's a little bit costly, but smart switches are really around this price range. My next purchase though, I'll probably go with the ones that work with the smart hub, just because it's easier and I won't be relying on a Broadlink RM4. Lastly, we have the Lasco Smart Bulb. I made the full review video on this. If you're interested to see that, I'm gonna leave a link in the description. But overall, this product is really good. It's one of them in the category that has a really good build quality. I'm gonna stress it again, this is the only one that has an aluminum body. I can't remember how many times I've said that. But yeah, it has good application support, assistant support. It has a good saturation. The colors are really good. Controls are really nice. And it has really good integration with some of the other automations I have. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, saan ko naman gagamitin to? I have a few ideas. So let's start with the sensors or triggers. We've talked about two of them. You have your motion sensor and your door or window sensor. Now, how I like to use them is more often than not to trigger lights. Specifically, lights inside this room. I have a door sensor at my door and one in my window as well. So whenever I enter the room at a specific time, it's programmed to turn on the lights. I also like to use my motion sensor to trigger lights. For example, pag bumaba ako sa garage and madilim, pag nasense ako ng motion sensor, it will turn on the lights. Or I can even have these sensors do a different thing on a specific time. For example, if I'm not in my room anymore, I can trigger them to cause a light scene so that when somebody enters my room without me there, it'll trigger sort of like an alarm with lights. You can also use other smart devices as a trigger. For example, I have this smart switch and what I do, if I turn it on, my other smart devices will turn on. I have it here close to me, so it acts like a switch, but I want to turn on multiple devices that I program it to do. Another trigger that I use personally is setting certain devices to work at certain times. In my garage, I have 3 smart bulbs that turn on at 5:30 in the evening. So hindi ko na siya isipin, magta-turn on na lang siya at certain time. Then they turn off 5 a.m. in the morning. So I have it set every day so I don't even bother touching the on and off switch in the wall. We can also set triggers by our location. For example, if I leave the house, I can set all my smart devices to turn off. And when I arrive, I can set certain smart devices to turn on. That's really nice if I want to turn on, say for example, some of my lights in my room. If I want to turn on the AC, when I arrive, I can do that. Okay, so now let's talk about smart assistants. I personally use Siri and Alexa, right? What I love about these is because si Smartlife, it can integrate directly to Siri. You can actually create shortcuts to chain together several actions in one button. You can even use the voice assistant to do this. This also integrates well with Alexa. Once you set a scene, Alexa automatically picks it up, and then you can command Alexa to do those scenes from Alexa itself. Now, you can either have Alexa on your phone, or there's even a desktop version of Alexa. So hopefully that gave you a good idea of how to use smart devices and how it integrates to different platforms in your home automation setup. For me, it really helped a lot having these devices in my house. It's just one less thing to worry about. Alright, so I hope you liked that video. Smash the like button if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.